here we are once again with another G1 CLIMAX 33 recap, specifically for Night 4, July 19, 2023. I'm MrWarrenHayes. How's everybody doing? We got another one in the can that we're going to talk about today, right after we get the YouTube stuff out of the way with the likes and the subscribes, and the podcast stuff with the ratings and reviews and, you know, follows and all that. And I don't want to waste too much time on this. At this point, I think you get the message. I'm continuing my ongoing coverage. You should follow and subscribe to get all of it, because it's a good time. But we're going to get right into it. We're going to get straight into Night 4. And, you know, straight off the bat, I'm going to tell you, this is how a night of the G1 should feel like. Once I'm done watching it, once everything is said and done, the main event is over, this is how I should feel like. I feel like I just watched some of the best fucking pro wrestlers in the world go at it, put on a show, make me feel like this tournament is important, and that it's important for them to get 2 measly fucking points on a board. This is how it should feel. And it's a good feeling. And that's what the G1 is all about, really. That's why we get excited. It's for nights like this, which, you know, it could be every night. But look, I'm not getting into that just yet. We're going to get into the results first. For the C block, tonight, whatever, David Finlay defeated Mikey Nicolls. Evil defeated Eddie Kingston, and I wanted to call him HENARE, but it's just HENARE now. So HENARE defeated Shingo Takagi, and Tonga defeated Tomohiro Ishii. As for the D block, Zack Sabre Jr. defeated Toru Yano, Jeff Cobb defeated Alex Coughlin, Hiroshi Tanahashi defeated Hastte, and Tetsuya Naito got one over Hirooki Goto. We're going to jump right in. We're going to go straight to the results, start talking about it out the gate, and we're going to start with C block. C block today started off with David Finlay versus Mikey Nicolls. Get a stalling suplex early on by Mikey Nicolls, and David Finlay takes all the action to the floor, and he tries to work over the cut that Mikey Nicolls self-inflicted, you know. He brought it on himself is what I'm trying to say. But that doesn't quite work out. I guess he was patched up pretty tight, or, you know, they were just working really well. A spine buster by Nicolls, crossface forearms by David Finlay follow. You get a lariat, a DVD, and a diving lariat by Nicolls, who's just out of control, in and out of moves, and a flash into oblivion by David Finlay. Got the win, so he is up to 4 points at this point. So listen, okay, so this was overall, if I'm not mistaken, a rather short match. Yeah, it was under 10 minutes. Second match on the card, usually not in a spot where, and I say usually, not in a spot where the booker will tell you, yeah, guys, go steal the show, right? That's not what this is for. What we got, however, was something that was much more than just a curtain jerker or, you know, an early lower card match. You know, we got 2 guys who worked really hard here and delivered a hard-hitting match. I told y'all, this, you know, C block, right? C block is the ass kicker block. This is what I've been telling you. But I think here that what we need to underscore here moving forward is Mikey Nicolls and the performances he's been putting on. Now, at the start of this, I said, this is how a G1 should feel like. You know, a Night 4 of the G1 should feel, that's how you should normally feel after you watch it. Feeling satisfied, watching some great pro wrestling. But in that same vein, Mikey Nicolls is a pro wrestler. He's exemplifying right now how a wrestler should be like during the G1. He should be, you know, going all out, especially in his first year, in his very first appearance in a G1. He should be going ham, full force, trying to scrape by, trying to scrap his way, is what I'm trying to say, into getting 2 points. His match with HENARE was the stiffest one we've seen yet, I would argue, and this one with Finlay was just a fantastic fight. An excellent brawl, full of moves, full of hard-hitting, hard-impact stuff. Great pace to it, too. It didn't snooze. There weren't, long rest hold spots here. We weren't watching a Kenta match. This rocked. It was very, very strong. And Mikey Nicolls, his performance so far in the G1, I'm going to underscore this. We have to highlight this. It exemplifies what a new guy in the G1 should be like. Not just a new guy, every guy. Sometimes folks, they kind of mail it in. Sometimes you're like, yeah, really, this is okay. Like, this is fine, but this is the G1. Right now, I have no qualms with how Mikey Nicolls is approaching his performance in the G1 so far. He is sinking his teeth into it. This match was great. Well, dial it back a little bit. It was really good. I wouldn't say great, but it was really, really good, really, really strong. And boy, oh boy, did it set the pace for the rest of the evening. Because this was not the first match on the card. It was the Toru Yano Zack Sabre Jr. match. That was the show opener. But this one here, despite it coming in second, really did set the tone. I had a blast watching this match. Won't be the greatest wrestling match you'll ever see, but as a component of a block of the G1, this was fantastic stuff. And we have to kick it back a notch here as Evil defeated Eddie Kingston. Eddie kind of knows what he's getting into. He's coming to the ring with a kendo stick. He's watched tape. Can you imagine? He's going from watching Jun Akiyama and Kabashi tapes. And I was like, there we go. We're gonna watch some House of Torture tape. Okay. Anyway, the ref, there's shenanigans from the start where the referee tries to get the kendo stick away from Kingston, and that allows Evil to blind attack Eddie, and then Eddie gets in control. Togo trips him up, and it spills into the arena where Evil beats him up. And this is something Evil has been trying to do. He did it on a couple of nights ago as well. Beats a guy into the audience and hopes that he gets the count out. Doesn't quite happen that way, of course. He starts raking the eyes of Eddie. I felt like Eddie oversold the eye raking spots. It got to a point where I was a little annoyed. Where I was a little, man, just dial it back a little. Like, we get it, but I feel like he was leaning so hard into it. But, Eddie does the Kobashi chops, and they do the timekeeper table spot with, the House of Torture stuff. There's more stuff with the kendo stick, and eventually Eddie wails on Evil with the kendo stick, and there's a low blow. Well, a low blow gets blocked. Eddie gets a hope spot here with the Saito suplex and a back fist, but Evil does the magic killer with the ref. This kind of stuff. It's this kind of match. There's more ref shenanigans and a kendo stick to the head. Everything is Evil. Evil wins. It probably will not be Eddie's favorite match of the tournament, and it certainly was not mine. And frankly, this match came in at 15 minutes, 15 seconds, which I feel was way too long. I don't think there was a reason for this to go to, with the amount of shtick that was in this match. I don't think we needed to go there. 15 minutes seems a little excessive. And then we get the cherry on top, even though this is like third from the top, nothing compared to this. Shingo Takagi and HENARE, actually HENARE, let's just call it as it is. HENARE beat Shingo Takagi. First of all, glad to see HENARE is okay. Sure, he's taped up around the shoulder area. That's fine. I mean, I'm sure he, he didn't have nothing. I'm sure he didn't register no injuries. But at least it's nothing severe that kicked him out of the tournament, which is a good thing. And look, just a few months ago, was it March? I think it was in March. It was on a Road 2 show, March or April. Memory is just jumpy here right now. And I don't have my Match of the Year notebook. But the Aaron HENARE and Shingo had a brilliant King of Pro Wrestling match against each other. That was just amazing. Like a fantastic, excellent match together. So I was excited for this. And boy, did it deliver. It's all, to begin with, tests of strength and the, showing off who's the toughest guy, who's the dude here, who's the alpha dude. Is it, the dragon guy or the guy with the facial tattoos? Shingo's like, it's like, oh, you hurt your neck? All right, whomp, I'll drop you on your neck. But then HENARE is like, all right, so you son of a bitch, I'm gonna work on yours too. And they're just throwing bombs at each other throughout this entire match. They're landing disaster kicks and rampages and made in Japans while trying to whittle at each other. They're both two super tough, bulls just running into each other. And HENARE again gets in a headbutt challenge with Shingo. And he goes for the Streets of Rage. He lands it, but he can't cover because he's too exhausted. They're trying to put each other away, but they're landing these big power moves, but both guys are landing on their necks, and their necks, they've screwed each other's necks up in the course of this match. So Shingo's doing shit. He's landing on his back, and it's like, he's clutching his neck. And it's attrition at this point. Once we get into the 15-minute mark, there's lariats by Shingo, and it covers. HENARE kicks out at 1. They wail on each other some more. They're exhausted. Now they're trading kicks with each other. They're out on their feet, leaning on into each other. HENARE lands a headbutt that knocks Shingo down. Covers. Shingo kicks out at 1. Like the whole thing rules. We get another Streets of Rage. 30 seconds are left on the clock. HENARE crawls to try and cover. The crowd is into it. He gets the 3. A fucking war this was. Now this is some G1 viewing. Now we got ourselves 2 guys who both came into this match without any points. And they're like, all right, we got to turn it up here. And by God, did they ever. What a fucking great match. The chemistry that these 2 dudes have together. And Kevin Kelly was talking about rivalry between the 2 because, they've had past matches. I think now they're 2 wins apiece, right? They're 2-2 against each other over 4 matches. And we're talking rivalry. Yeah, let's keep bringing this back. Let's just dig deeper and deeper into this rivalry and just have these guys pummel each other for our pleasure. This was absolutely fantastic. It is unquestionably right now, I think, observably, quantifiably, qualifiably, all the adjectives you want, match of the tournament so far. I can't hear an argument for anything else. This is absolutely match of the tournament. I'm putting a flag down here. This is the bar moving forward. It's right here. We had some stuff on night 1. Now we're up to night 4. This is it right here. Block C, the ass kickers. And we still have 1 more to go, right? Which was the main event, Tonga versus Tomohiro Ishii, which I thought was great. I thought on top of it all, this was very good. Wasn't as good as HENARE and Shingo, but kind of splitting hairs here. This was fantastic nonetheless. Heavy strikes starting off with each other. Tonga seems to be in control early, does the Stinger Splash and a body slam. He starts landing some strikes to get Ishii down, tries a Supreme Flow, but Ishii rolls out of the way. Tongan twist happens at 10 minutes in. We get a superplex just before that by Ishii, shouldn't mention that, and a beautiful one on top of that. He just stalled slightly, just a little stall, a little something, so that Tonga's heart can sink into his stomach a little more, right? Ishii bowls over a gun stun attempt, and right into a sliding lariat, and then we get a supreme flow by Tonga, a bloody cross, a gun stun by Ishii, but it's a J driller. Shout out. That gets the win for Tonga. Just over 15 minutes. Tonga scores his first 2 points. This was great. This is fantastic. And Ishii, look, this worked. I thought this was great. Action-packed, big moves. I'm telling you, this is how it should feel. We all had guys who work wonderfully off of each other. Just fantastic. Not a snoozer in Block C on night 4. Not one where you go, You know, you can absolutely, look, Evil in Kingston, it has the shtick, it has the stuff, but there's a level of it that was compelling. It just wasn't for me. It's not one where I'm going to go, I'm going to absolutely dive in here and say, go, watch this. You know, that wasn't it. But it wasn't a bore fest. It was maybe annoying, but it wasn't boring. It was boring as opposed to being annoying is a much worse offense. Being boring is the worst thing. There's nothing boring here. But we got 3 outstanding matches on on Block C here tonight. That was absolutely fantastic. And look, you remember yesterday I was talking about, how, maybe Yoshihashi, right, might be coming in to take a spot here, as a guy who's super reliable, and he could probably jump into Ishii's spot as the guy who will have great matches with everyone and just never win a tournament, never be a top performer in a tournament, but will, or maybe occasionally, maybe once, twice, but will never be like a guy where you're like, he's winning the tournament, but he will be an MVP. Remember when I said that? I think HENARE might be even more of a candidate. I think he might even be more of a guy. Because look, if we are in a transitional period in New Japan where we're taking the young guys, and we're boosting them up, making them into stars because our old guard is slowly going to move into retirement and, not being able to move as much, and we're going to have to depend on the younger guys. Well, Ishii is part of that group too, even though he's not, a main event Tokyo Dome player. He's still part of that group of people that at some point you won't be able to depend on him anymore. He's not washed, not at all. But eventually the time is going to come. Why not start heating up a guy like HENARE who could absolutely fill those shoes, right? This burly bruiser who can come in, have a great match with anyone and go home. Never be a top guy, but a good, solid, upper mid-card worker who can do it all. You need those guys too. They can't all be the guy. HENARE is not going to be the guy, but he can absolutely find us a secure, respected spot like that, becoming a new version of Tomohiro Ishii. Anyway, so Block C, I think, was overall a winner. So the standings we have right now, we have Dave Finlay and Evil, who are both 2-0, have 4 points. Eddie Kingston, Mikey, Nicolls, Tonga, and HENARE all have 2 points, while Ishii and Shingo are still have donuts. And Shingo will probably start winning matches, don't get me wrong. But like I said, none of this surprises me. I told you this, I think even, on night 2 when I did the review. Shingo has nothing going right now. He's not involved in any big time feuds. He's not protected. He has nothing. There's nothing going on with him right now. There's no reason for him to be pushed as a top guy. So there we go. And it's not against him himself. This is all a question of push. This will be the second G1 in a row. I mean, last year, he was a contender. He was in the running till the very end. He might turn things around and do a come from behind win here. He just might, but maybe not. Unpredictability is the theme of the G1. Can't say it enough. All right. It is now time to talk about Block D. Started off with Toru Yano versus Zack Sabre Jr. Look, I mean, maybe this is one of the reasons that, I didn't go as hard on the evil match, as it, throwing my hands up and going, yeah, motherfucker, Jesus Christ, what are we doing here? Because the Yano Sabre match was only shtick. That's all there was. You had Fujita coming out dressed as Zack Sabre Jr. and Yano's like, what the hell? So he goes and gets his own young lion. I think wasn't it Nakajima? He puts his robe on him and says, all right, you go in now. And then it's like, you two fight, but then Zack Sabre Jr. blindsides him. Yano low blows Zack Sabre Jr. and tapes up his legs. Fujita taped up the buckles in the ring so that Yano wouldn't take him over. Look, it turns out Zack Sabre Jr. got scissors thanks to sweet boy Fujita, Yano didn't realize that his Zack Sabre's legs were no longer taped together. And anyway, Zack Sabre Jr. won. Mercifully, this was extremely short. This was 5 minutes 37 seconds according to Cage Match. So mercifully, we got in and out of that one quickly. But I mean, it was silly. I cracked a smile. I was like, all right. And I told y'all yesterday when I was doing the preview, Sabre's going to lean into this. Sabre, has a sense of humor. This is the kind of shit that he also likes. It's like he's going to lean into it. They're going to do something. Oh, there you go. They worked. That was the whole thing of the match and lasted under 6 minutes. So it's hard to bitch about it. It was a Yano match, so I didn't have, this is the type of expectation you have. It's fine. Like, it's all fine. Jeff Cobb defeated Alex Coughlin. No War Dogs shenanigans here to start with. Alex Coughlin is like, nah, I'm going to do this the right way now. There's a flying shoulder tackle that sends, this is Jeff Cobb, that sends Coughlin to the floor. Coughlin paces around the floor. Eventually, Jeff Cobb comes out onto the floor, and then Coughlin throws the ref into Jeff Cobb, and then throws Oleg Boltin into Jeff Cobb, and then tosses Cobb into the rails. Coughlin does a gut wrench suplex. I like me a good gut wrench suplex. This boy is strong. And he gorilla presses Jeff Cobb. So again, we're establishing Alex Coughlin is a big, powerful dude because he's manhandling Jeff Cobb, who is not a small man. But look, Cobb plays the hit, spin cycle, standing moonsault. Jeff Cobb does a splash at some point, but it's interrupted into a belly-to-belly overhead suplex by Alex Coughlin. So that's also impressive. Side suplex follows, but a German suplex and a tour of the islands clinches it for our boy Jeff. Big powerhouse showcase here. This was the story of this match. And Coughlin, look, undeniable. Super strong, and this was a showcase, so you're just seeing him do super impressive stuff on Jeff Cobb, where Jeff Cobb was probably, yeah, dude, if you can throw me around, let's get you over, kind of thing. But that fire isn't there, like this War Dog thing that Gabe Kidd has. It's not there, and it doesn't translate into Coughlin all by himself. Clearly, Coughlin needs his boy Gabe to drag it out of him, and that's something that we had supposed. Let's give it a couple of other nights, but Coughlin he doesn't have the same bite. I feel like I use this analogy. He doesn't have the same bite as Gabe Kidd does. That's just the way it is at this point. And I think it's a shame because Coughlin, outside of being strong and doing really strong boy things, he should be showing off like this drive, right? The drive that I was talking about, that that Dave Finlay and Mikey Nicolls, who isn't even a singles guy in New Japan, really. That drive should be omnipresent in a guy like Coughlin, especially after the promo he cut at the press conference. But he comes in, he does his match, and it's good. I mean, it's sound. You can't bitch about the technique. You can't bitch about his qualities and his talent. But there's something missing to the Alex Coughlin puzzle right now. And, this is having me think, is Jeff Cobb going to be a factor? Now, he's had 2 matches so far, of course, well, just like everyone. And his first match, he hasn't been necessarily going through, he still has some big matches left. He did knock off Tetsuya Naito. So right now, Jeff Cobb might be a tremendous factor here, because right now he's got perfect score. He knocked off one of the bigger names of the block, which is Naito. After that, there's Tanahashi that might put up that has a possibility of putting up a fight. Maybe Goto, and maybe Zack as well. But he has a tiebreaker over Tetsuya Naito, so will he be a factor moving forward? It's something to keep an eye on. Let's see. After that, we had Hiroshi Tanahashi defeating Shane Hastte. Listen, I'm going to keep my analysis of this one pretty short, because I'm going to be honest. Most of the Tanahashi matches I'm going to be looking at as we move on is sort of to pinpoint whether or not Hiroshi Tanahashi is, on his final throes in G1 active competitive competition, or if he still has something that he's holding back on us. And I haven't seen it yet. Now, the Zack Sabre Jr. match 2 nights ago, on night 2, we talked about it. It was hard to tell whether or not Tanahashi, was still mobile, could still do a whole bunch of stuff, because they did the ground game with Zack, and there was a lot of protection at the very least. If that was a thing, if that's something they needed to do, there was absolutely some protection there. The match with Shane Hastte here, they did a classic pro wrestling story of, the heel doing a long, extended heat segment on the babyface so that the babyface can have a couple of hope spots, and then the big final comeback for the win. And that's exactly what we got. This is textbook stuff. And again, was this to hide some things? Look, Tana ran the ropes a couple of times, and he did aces high, he did high fly flow. He wasn't a complete stone wall, but he's not running a high octane, G1 main event against Tetsuya Naito or against the Kazuchika Okada. Hastte did all the heavy lifting here. So again, I'm just wondering, are we right to think that Tana might be, that the candle may be flickering at this point? This is what I'm keeping an eye on. Hastte was fine, I guess. This match was very good, very standard. Nothing wrong with it per se. Maybe I don't know, would you call it a 3 1/4 if I were giving it star ratings? I don't know. I'm terrible at this shit. But it was fine. Good little match, well put together, was smart. And I think if Tanahashi does have issues, they were all covered up here, because Hastte did most of the work. Tanahashi gets his first 2 points. And that leads us to the main event, the main event of Block D, I should say. Second from the top, Tetsuya Naito defeating Hirooki Goto. I thought that was very good. You had two seasoned G1 performers, two seasoned New Japan stars having a true to form, like a good, great G1 match. I thought this was very good. I thought this rocked. Even outside of the little sloppiness that Naito had trying to get the Destino off at the end, I thought everything connected. Everything worked. I thought this was good. Good, solid work by vets who understand that they're in the G1, that it's time to show up. Was it, match of the night? No. But maybe in another circumstance, I'd be like, sure, because this was very good. And Naito jumping around, being very mobile. Hirooki Goto just being, being his typical strong style self. We're getting Yushihiroshis and Esperanzas, and it all ends with a Destino. What do you want? This is fine. This was more than fine. This was very good. Dare I say great? I think this was a great one. I enjoyed it tremendously. Good night for D Block as well. If we look at the scoreboard, Zack Sabre Jr. has 4 points, Jeff Cobb as well. Then we have Hirooki Goto, Shane Haste, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Tetsuya Naito all at 2. Yano, Coughlin rounding up the goose eggs at the bottom of the pile. Now, if I were to give you some recommendations, which I'm sure you're chomping at the bit, gee willikers, I wonder what match Warren is going to recommend for me. Look, if you have the time, I would say sit down and watch this show. I enjoyed overall, I think this was a better show than Night 1, which I thought was the best show so far. I thought this was better. I think the wrestling is tighter, more complete. There's no complete snooze fest. And you can skip over the Yano stuff. You can skip over the evil stuff if you want. If you're an Eddie Kingston completionist, well, Eddie has a match here. You can absolutely, it's not a disaster of a match either. It's just really fucking annoying when you want to watch pro wrestling and you're getting something else, But I think you can absolutely sit down. It's a nice, tidy, it's under 3 hours. Nice, tidy little show. That's what I'd recommend. But if you're stripped for time, then you're like, Warren, I only got one match. I can only watch one of these. Well, it's Takagi versus HENARE, and that goes without saying. Like this is the match everyone on your timelines, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on Blue Sky, whether it's on Threads, or maybe in your Discords, this is what everyone's talking about, and with reason, because it fucking rocked. I have no quibbles with it. I would also recommend Naito versus Goto as well, and Tonga versus Tomohiro Ishii. I think those three are safe recommendations. I think those matches were all great. But like I said, this is a night of the G1 that you will not waste your time on. You will enjoy this. As a pro wrestling fan, you sit down, you watch this, and because the whole show in and about itself is just like, it's perfectly paced and everything falls into place wonderfully, and it feels like everyone just gave themselves the word. We got to go tear down the house tonight, and that's what they did, all in their own respective ways. You're not going to have tearing down the houses in the third match from the bottom. But when you start tearing the house down from the third from the top, then you know you're into something. You're into something good here. And you're like, oh shit. Plus, on top of that, much better crowd. I didn't even tell you where this was from. What am I doing? Much bigger crowd in Sendai at the Xebio arena. Much better than last night. Unquestionably, such a better crowd. This was great stuff. Absolutely great stuff. Makes me excited to be covering the G1. You like that kind of shit. So, we are going to be back on July 19. No, this is 19. July 21st. I'm looking over at my calendar here my content calendar, and 19's today, you jerk. So we'll be back for the next G1 on the 21st. Let's run down what is happening there. We're going to be back with A and B block. A block is going to have Ren Narita versus Gabe Kidd. I would assume Ren Narita is scoring his first 2 points here. Hikuleo is going to be taking on Chase Owens. Okay. There's the off chance that Hikuleo might get his first 2 here. But I can also absolutely see Chase Owens, veteran, guy that the office really likes, just, gets a little bump. Not going crazy here, but gets a little bump. Shota Umino takes on Kaito Kiyomiya. This is the one that I have circled. I'm excited for this one. And Sanada versus Yota Tsuji. Tsuji getting another shot at Sanada. Again, look, I don't want to hatch the eggs before they've been laid, but I think we can already expect strong reactions for Yota Tsuji, and Sanada once again just, coming up a little slow, a little under here. But because look at what's I think it's Joe Lanza. I was listening to his review and he pointed this out and I was like, he's absolutely right. Yota Tsuji, since back from excursion, has won 0 matches, and yet he is over like a motherfucker with the crowds. And yet he has yet to score a single victory in New Japan Pro Wrestling since returning from his excursion. I think that's all you have. And meanwhile, Sanada is running through a rogue gallery of dudes and fan favorites and whatnot. And he's still getting very timid reactions. Anyway, well, this will absolutely be part of the conversation on the 21st. And then as far as B block goes, we're going to have Yoshihashi versus Tanga Loa. Man, I didn't mention this yesterday, but Tanga Loa is absolutely, donning everything. He's got the bad luck fale, he's got the camouflage pants and wrestling in a t-shirt, and now he has the gloves. So I'm like, and honestly, I'm just about as interested in watching him as I was watching Bad Luck Fale in the G1. Not exactly, buttering my bread, if you know what I mean. El Fantasma versus Great Okan. One of these guys is going to break out here with their first 2 points of the tournament. That'll be interesting to watch. Will Ospreay versus Kenta. If there is one guy in this whole fucking block that can get something out of Kenta, it's Will. And Kazuchika Okada versus Taichi, which has the potential. I think big match Taichi is going to show up. I'm excited. I'm legitimately excited for this. I think Okada wins. I don't think Taichi's going to get the big surprise Okada win. I think we might be reserving that for someone else. So that's that. So that's what's going to be happening in Niigata on July 21st. Of course, I will be back to break it all down. I want to thank everyone for joining me today. Hope you enjoyed this recap. And like I said, I'll be back in a couple of days to do so. And in the meantime, I will also have the AEW Dynamite review, which is going to be on Thursday. There we go, tomorrow. Enjoy Blood and Guts for those of you who observe. And otherwise, I'll see you next time.